Welcome to an episode of Bitches Love Sports. I'm here with Chef Hoppie.
What's up?
So, we are going to talk about Hoppie's career, what he's up to. Just now, as we were going live, we were talking about the practices that have been happening here at the Ford Center.
Right.
We're in the Omni right now, across from the Ford Center. So I feel like I've asked you this line of questions probably about 5 times, but we're going to do it again.
Yeah.
Let's tell the people who you are, what you do, how you got here, for anybody who somehow might not know.
Got you. So I'm celebrity chef, Chef Hoppie. I cook for a lot of the Dallas Cowboys and other superstars that come to the DFW area. And how I got here is really like a long story, so I'll try to make it a little shorter than whatever. But I used to play football for Hall of Famer Deion Sanders. And I had a baking business whenever I was 12. And, I used to take my cakes and everything to football practice, church, school, whatever, let everybody try it. And then whenever Coach Deion found out I baked, he would have me come to his house and do the desserts while his chef was doing the meal. And the chef would teach me how to present my foods and talk to a crowd and everything like that. And that's kind of how it got rolling. And then whenever I was 19, Coach Deion called me to be his chef full time. And then that's kind of how things got going. Alan Hearns got traded here from the Jags. I think that might have been 5 years ago now. 5 or 6 years ago now. He tweeted he needed a chef in the Frisco area. I lived in Cedar Hill at the time, which is about 45 minutes to an hour away. But I was like, I'll make the drive to really start my career. We worked out a deal to where he posted me on his social media and everything like that. And then Zeke had a birthday party and needed a chef, and been history ever since.
That's amazing. So there are a few components about that I want to ask you about. The first one is, I don't think I'd ever heard you mention that the chef who was kind of mentoring you at first had you also do public speaking.
Yeah.
Do you think that was significant in your career?
For sure. I think it always went a part of Coach Deion's plan. So he always trained us to be in front of the camera and be a part of the limelight because we were a part of his limelight while he was our coach. We practiced on South Beach. He put a turf field on South Beach, so we always had the cameras on in front of us. But as far as seeing somebody in my field or somebody that I wanted to be like, teach me how to elaborate even more on what I was doing and how to present it and what words to say to make the food sound even better was really helpful.
Nice. So you said he always had the cameras on y'all.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So this stuff that he's doing right now with Colorado is like not new.
Oh, nothing new at all. It's just really on a bigger scale.
Right.
And nobody cared about. Well, a lot of people did, but we were 11 and 12-year-olds at the time, so you couldn't do too much or say too much or expose too much. Right. But now that you're at I don't want to say a Power 5, but you're at a big school like Colorado now, and the transformation that he did at Jackson State and things of that nature, it's always been something that he's done, and he's always been about exposure and getting everybody ready for the opportunity.
Gotcha. And then you said that one of the first things that you did, you traded for social media exposure.
Right.
Is that something that you recommend as a tactic? Because I've heard people speak like for and against that kind of thing.
I definitely think it's right for the right person in the right opportunity. There are some people who will take advantage and not really push you how you are expecting them to, or not really get you into the doors that you think they will get you to. So you just kind of got to be mindful of what you're wanting and what they can do for you. Like with Coach Deion, he just did it naturally just because he was my mentor and we always, had that type of relationship. But it wasn't something I was like, oh, I'm going to ask him for social media because, I don't think, he really just now got really on the social media heavy. He always had his Twitter.
He's figuring it out though.
Right. He's always had his Twitter, but he just got into the Instagram about 2 or 3 years ago and things like that. So I knew with Allen coming over and all of the buzz, and really, I'm trying to remember that receiver core, but he was really almost the number one receiver at the time. I'm trying to think. Who else? Was Dez? No. I think that was, yeah. Either way, I think he was wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 at the time, and I knew it was a great opportunity to do more. That's whenever Fried Chicken Thursday started. I would cook over 250 pieces of fried chicken for the D-line every Thursday, just because. And you did this
by yourself?
Yeah, by myself. And then I brought on my best friend. He's my sous chef now. He would come every now and again whenever his job permitted or things of that nature. But yeah, so I just knew that a lot of buzz was around his name, and a lot of Cowboy Nation would be going to follow him with having a newcomer on the team.
Yeah. And I like the fact that you mentioned that, because I think there's a respectful way to do that.
Oh, yeah.
I think sometimes when people talk about like, okay, doing something for somebody because of the buzz, like there's sometimes a negative connotation to that, or sometimes people feel like you have to be like somewhat like, I don't know, kind of sneaky about it, you know? But I think there's nothing wrong, and I want to hear your opinion on this. I think there's nothing wrong with knowing that, okay, somebody has a buzz. I can provide something for them that they want, that they need, that they would appreciate, and they can compensate me in a way besides with money. And I feel like as long as people respect each other and they respect what's provided by one another, and everybody's honest about what they can and can't do, I feel like there's nothing wrong with like having that common understanding.
Oh yeah, for sure. As long as a relationship isn't parasitic, then it's always an understanding of it's mutual. You know, if once the balance start tilting one way or another, that's whenever you have to really kind of redefine the relationship or really understand if is a relationship worth it, and then go from there. But as long as it's mutual and that balance is staying level, then you're good to go.
Gotcha. Now, I like a phrase that you used a second ago. You said something about knowing what you want when it comes to doing those kinds of trades. And you actually posted something on your social media about, I'm going to look it up, but it was something about knowing what you deserve.
Right.
And because I'm anticipating that like some young entrepreneurs, maybe even some young actual chefs might watch this for inspiration or for a few gems, I just want you to talk about that and what it means to know what you want. Because I think there's like knowing that something's lacking, like that's a feeling.
Right.
But when it comes to like actually getting clarity, like having a very clear vision in your mind of like what you want, I feel like a lot of people don't have that. And I think that's more important than people actually let on. What is your philosophy?
For sure. So kind of knowing what you want is kind of like a baby, for instance. A baby will cry and you have to keep trying to figure out what it wants. Does it need his diaper change? Does it need food? Does it need to sleep? There's something bothering it. So you don't know what the baby wants, so you're trying everything. At the end of the day, I don't want to say you're wasting your time doing that, trying to find out what's what. But if you knew exactly what the problem was or what the baby wanted, you wouldn't be wasting your time. So really understanding what you want out of life, one out of a situation, one out of a career path, a dream, a vision, whatever the case may be, it really cuts a lot of corners and helps you focus in and direct yourself on what needs to be done. And as far as the Twitter post that you're talking about today,
I just found it.
You can read it.
Okay. So this is slightly related, but I feel like this post actually goes in even deeper into something else. But it says, "Good morning. Take the word deserve out of your vocabulary. If you deserved it, you'd have it. You're either not opening your mouth and saying something," that's that clarity part,
right,
"or not working hard enough or being unrealistic with yourself. Go get it." Now, I feel like some people might think that that's a little bit harsh, because I feel like anytime you call out the fact that, hey, like sometimes y'all want something and you just don't deserve it yet, people feel like you're attacking them.
Oh yeah.
You know, but like how do you say stuff like that and still not mean it with any malicious intent?
Sometimes you got to mean it with a malicious intent.
Oh, so there is a little bit.
Sometimes you got to, because a lot of people throw around the word deserve like it's owed to them. I deserve a lot of stuff, but you know, if I don't have it, then I don't deserve it, because I would go get it if I quote unquote deserve it. So let's just say I deserve more followers.
Okay.
So I knew for me that I never wanted to be like any other chef. So I never did what was popping, what was trending, what was that. So if I want more followers, I need to make sure what I'm doing is going to get me those followers. I don't deserve them. I want them. I need them, but I don't deserve them because I didn't go get them.
Okay.
So it's really hard to put this in terms for people who use the term deserve and really mean it whenever they say it. I just hate the word deserve, because if you felt like you deserve it, you would have it and you would do whatever in your willpower to go get it. So, you know, the word deserve, I don't ever use. And if I catch somebody in my circle using it, I'll try to tell them, okay, well, what are you doing for you not to have it at the time? Or what can you do to go get it? Not say you deserve it and just sit back and hope that it comes to you.
I like that. I think I get what you're saying. And I think one of the things I would add to that is just that, like, why do you think you deserve it? So, like, let's go to your point about followers and how if you wanted more followers, you would do what's popular, right? Well, the reason why you haven't been doing what other chefs do in order to get more followers is because you've actually been growing multiple businesses.
Right.
So your time is dedicated to growing multiple businesses,
For sure.
and that's what the seeds that you planted have borne that fruit.
Definitely.
So it's like the evidence of your work is that like, okay, your businesses are successful, and so you're getting what you deserve in that sense.
Right.
And so to do what you deserve to get more followers, you would have to take time and energy away from doing what you deserve to grow your businesses.
Right.
And so it kind of comes down to like, okay, which is more important? What do you want? What would be required to get it? Right. So it's like, it's not even necessarily that, according to you, apparently it can be said with malicious intent. I like the fact that you admitted that, because sometimes people say some rude shit and they act like, oh, no, I'm like, no disrespect. It's like, no, that was hella disrespectful.
Right.
But sometimes it's literally just a fact. Like I've even had people suggest that I do certain things for more followers that I'm just like, that's not what I want this brand to be.
And that's what and once you get to that point and doing what is good for more followers, that's when you start cheating yourself.
Right. Unless more followers is what you want. I mean, don't get me wrong. Twitter is monetizing. There are some people who are really trying to take advantage of that, right? But it's like, if I know that getting more followers doesn't align with what I feel is necessary for growing this brand, then I have to pick. Like, do I want to grow this brand or do I want to get more followers?
Right.
Some of the things that people have suggested for me to get more followers would require me to completely change my brand. And I have a set of criteria for when I will or won't do that. So yeah, I like it.
And just saying, like I was saying before, I lost my train of thought. But even for the fact of whenever somebody says something crazy to me, I always tell people I'm famous in real life. So whenever
you really are though. Somebody was like, "You got more followers than him." I was like, "Don't read too much into that, please don't."
so I'll tell people, you can have all the followers you want, but does your face card work? Can you get in? I can go into the Cowboys practice, not be on the guest list, and still walk into VIP.
Exactly.
Things of that nature. It just depends on what you value more. I haven't told many people this, but me and Dak are about to start a business together.
Oh, nice.
So what I want to focus on that, or what I care about the more followers or being well known on social media.
Hey,
you can have 250,000 followers, but you don't have a business with that.
Yes, there are a lot of people who have 250,000 followers who do not have business with Dak Prescott. I tried to get a picture with him yesterday, and I was so disappointed. Just a side story, because I haven't really had a time to tell my audience about what happened yesterday. Brother L was there. I was literally this close. And I was nice. I was nice to somebody, and I let them go in front of me. And then like right after she took her picture, dude came out, was like, okay, time to go. And then I was like,
yeah.
But like I said earlier, next time.
Next time for sure.
Let's talk about this business though. Tell us about it if you can.
I'm not gonna say too much yet, but it's very close to being where it needs to be for us to let the public know. Dak was just presented an opportunity, and me and him have always flirted with the idea of, giving the people an opportunity to taste what's really going on and have fun about what's really going on. So you'll be able to see us at some of the home games, maybe some tailgate parties. We might be out here at the Star hosting some stuff for away games, just
That's
really
exciting.
being able to be flexible and giving the people a taste of what we got cooking up.
I'm about to be in Frisco all the time. Oh my God. I come up here way too much.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's exciting. And good luck with that.
Thank you.
Now, I think it's interesting that you're starting a business with that. You started a business with Zeke. Deion Sanders was very invested. Everybody that you've worked with hasn't, like, I'm sure some of them have just been like, okay, like, I'll hire you to be my chef. I'll pay you, whatever. But you've had some very notable people who have been willing to, like, really invest in you. I'm still here. Okay, that was weird.
Yeah.
But you've had very notable people willing to invest in you. And I'm just curious, what do you think you bring to the table that makes them so comfortable doing that? Because not everybody, like there are a lot of people who perform various services for people of note. There's massage therapists, there's hairdressers, there's people who wash cars, people who clean houses. Yeah. And not all of those people can go up to one of their clients and say, I want you to invest in this, and actually get a yes. You've been able to do it multiple times. What do you think it is about you that makes you special as an entrepreneur and as a person where you've been able to get that investment repeatedly?
So my food gives me a seat at the table.
Literally.
Let's just say, but no, just being genuine and being true to who I am. And every client that I have and I hate calling them clients because it's more like family, which is about to bring me to my next point. But everybody that I work for on a repeated basis or in a concrete type of relationship and not just one offs and things like that, I make sure I build and we treat each other like family. So, it's business. I'm gonna make sure you get your food, I'm gonna make sure you eat, but after you're done eating, we might kick it, go play Madden or something together and things like that. And I look out for their interests outside of the kitchen and in real life. Whenever we go out or something like that, I turn into a security guard. Just because I know what comes with it and what's what, and I'm looking out for their interests. So just whenever doing things like that, that automatically warms the heart and makes them look into wanting to keep you around and looks into what are my desires as a brand and how can they help and be a part of it and how I help and be a part of their lives as well. So it's just always the matter of being true to me, being genuine and being genuine with them, and also them understanding that Chef Hoppie is bigger than just what they see in their kitchen.
Nice. Now, on that note, one thing I want to ask about is, there's going to be some people who are wondering, like, how do I start working with, clients who are athletes, celebrities, so on and so forth. And so I guess I kind of have two questions regarding that. Like, you happen to play football for Deion Sanders,
Right.
which ended up opening up a lot of doors. So one question is going to be, is there a way to get in a position like where you are without some sense of a lucky break? Like, is there a way to apply your way? And before you answer that, my other question is that something that you would recommend anyway? Because honestly, whenever I think about that, I just feel like there's so few people, when you think about it in terms of percentages,
Right.
who are going to get that opportunity.
Right.
Does it even make sense to aspire to be a celebrity, anything, a celebrity chef, a celebrity trainer? Or does it just make more sense to be like, hey, focus on your brand,
Right.
and be good at doing you,
Mm-hmm.
and then whoever's supposed to be in your life is going to be there?
I don't recommend anybody to try to be in my position for the fact of I'm the only, not saying this in a bragging way, but I'm the only person in my position as a chef to be doing what I'm doing at this level. Nobody has had 4 superstars in one day at one time. No other chefs have been cooking for that. A lot of times superstars are selfish or want their chef just to them. I remember last season, Jimmy Butler came into town and he wanted me to cook for him for a few days, and he wanted me to clear my whole schedule just to cook for him, which he would pay whatever. But I told him no. So just because of the relationships that I have and the leniency that my clients give me already now to fit who's on the team into the schedule and align perfectly is just a blessing and an understanding of not everybody is that way, just from seeing how Jimmy wanted me to drop everybody. Not throwing no shade at him, but that's just what he's used to. So back to what you're saying. But yeah, I don't recommend you try to be in my position, but I recommend that you establish who you are as a brand, always have proof of what you do, and be ready for any opportunity. If somebody's looking for a chef and I say, okay, well, go check out this guy, you don't have any pictures of your food on your social media, you're cussing, you're doing all types of stuff all on your social media, they're gonna be like, oh, he's not serious about what he's doing. I mean, once you're established with everything, do all the cussing, act whatever you want. But if you're really trying to build and really trying to catch the eye of certain people, then you have to move a certain way. And I understood that just from playing for Coach Deion for 4 or 5 years. Whenever I was younger, he always instilled that into me. So whenever you go into these positions, a lot of people don't have mentors that are Hall of Famers and and actually care about what you are outside of your relationship with them. So that's the first part, but no, that was the second part. Let me see. I kind of commingled them.
The first question was technically like, how do you even get in the position?
Okay. Yeah, so that kind of pours into what I was saying as being ready with the opportunity to pictures of your food, or if you're in other lanes, just having evidence of what you're doing and really understanding what you want to accomplish. As I said earlier in the interview, I never wanted to be like any other chef. So I never followed any chefs on social media because I didn't want to mold my image to fit into their image. Everybody always asks me who's my favorite chef, but I don't have a favorite chef. So, it's just a lot of things that you have to understand and not fall into loopholes to be in the position to where, you can create this brand or create this image, create this product that is so desirable by so many high scale people.
I like what you said about not following other chefs. And not that I think you shouldn't follow anybody in your industry, but I do think it's important to, like, if there is something that's, you know, influencing you from the outside, I do think it's important to like quiet that noise, because it's like our brand, you know, me and my co-host, when we first started, there weren't like, you know, a line of other women who cover sports that we were following. And I think if that had been the case, our brand would be very different. And I'm not saying that would be good or bad. I just know that what we do works for us. And I think if I were trying to do what I've seen other women do, it wouldn't work because it would be so fake.
Right.
It would be so fake. And I don't think we would have, like, not that our following is huge, but I know some people who like genuinely love our show. And I don't think that we would have those connections with those people in our audience if we were fake and if we weren't able to be ourselves. Let's talk a little bit about the position that you're in, because this might be a good time for some fun stories, because I met a security guard once who was talking about how a couple of times he had to escort Dak to his car. Because of some just fans on a level of crazy that I didn't even know people did that, right? So I'm not going to ask you to name names or say what team they played for or anything like that. But I'm just curious, have you ever had to deal with any just like craziness in terms of people trying to get to people that you work with and you had to intercede and stop something from happening?
Right. Even last night, I'm sure some pictures will surface soon. Myself, CeeDee's best friend, and his other homeboy and everything like that. We were across the street at Sports Academy playing basketball. And after practice, CeeDee came to pick us up and things like that. So he was just sitting in the gym. We were wrapping up the game and everything like that. And there's people standing outside the glass door, taking pictures, screaming, banging on the.
He can't even sit in the gym?
He can't even sit in the gym.
Oh my God.
You know, just instances like that. And that was a mild instance, but just instances like that to where, you know, he can't even sit in the gym, but let alone, how did you guys know he was at Sports Academy?
Right. So what did you do?
So, you know, of course, he was sitting in the corner, so I went and stood in front of him for the pictures and stuff. I was like, okay, well, how we want to do this? Because, you know, they're going to try to say you out here playing basketball or whatever the case may be, and whatever.
They will make that a story.
Yeah, they will make that a story. So he was like, nah, we're good. Let's just go. So walked him out the gym. They take pictures. Oh my God. So, you know, no pictures, no, you know, back up, excuse me. You know, had to put a little bass in my voice, had to watch out now. And then, you know, he got in the car and headed on. But, you know, just things like that to where why would you even think to look at Sports Academy for him to be in there when
it's almost Academy like somebody in there would have had to have said something.
But for and that's even more crazy because for Sports Academy, their brand is known for celebrities.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe they saw his car over there. Maybe they followed his car.
The orange Lambo?
Well, it's a different color now, but it still has orange in it. But yeah.
Okay. So I would say that is a very recognizable car. Right. I've only seen it on social media, but I can imagine like if you are really a fan and you see the car, right, you might know. Now, I just feel like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, you might recognize the car, but are you really gonna stop and get out? But I guess people really won't.
No, it was probably like 25 people sitting outside the window.
What do they? Well, you might not know the answer, but I've always been curious. Like, what do you expect to happen? Because, like, in my mind, here's what I think. I'm just like, okay, let's say I get out of my car and I go over there to take pictures. Like, is he really gonna like that? Like, would that actually like win me favor with one of my favorite players? Like, no, it would make me look crazy. So, like, maybe I shouldn't do that.
Right.
Do you think that people just don't think about that? Do you think they don't care? Like, have you ever heard any of them like offer any justification for that kind of behavior?
No, and I never really tried to figure it out because, like I said, I've been a part of it since I was 12. Okay. You know, I lived with Coach Deion for I wouldn't say lived. I stayed with him for about 3-4 months during the summer and things of that nature. So we go to Walmart or something like that. I gotta block people and things like that, or we got to make sure we holding the tea so people don't try to create a story. So we holding the tea and pictures and things like that. So,
wow.
Yeah. So it's always a lot of crazy things that go on, and I never really understood it. But so many people get starstruck, and that is the biggest excitement of their life at the time per se, or that they could, you know, conjure up or could tell to the friends at work or at school or things of that nature. So they feel like this is their one moment to have the one up on the next person. I
don't think I would tell anybody that story, but I guess if you spin it, if you're like, I saw CeeDee Lamb at Sports Academy, that sounds like a cool story. Right. But it's like if you actually tell your friends, like, yeah, I saw CeeDee Lamb's car, so I parked and got out and was taking pictures that he clearly didn't want to take through a window, then you sound crazy.
Oh yeah.
I ask you these questions because, like, I know you probably don't watch this regularly, but we have a concept called ethical fangirling. Mm-hmm. And it's really based off of just like me being in various chats with, other women sports fans. And a lot of them are just, sports fans. We like the game, cool, watch. Right. But every now and then, like, you get like, I hate to use the term groupies, but that's what they are. And they tell these stories and I'm just like, girl, you did what? Like, why would you do that? And so like the concept of ethical fangirling comes from just like us hearing those stories and then basically making rules that's like, hey, like, okay, you can be a fan, you can be an exuberant fan, but here are some things that you shouldn't do. Right. So it's things like stalking is out of the question. Don't go in these social media chats and try to talk dirty about their significant others. That's rude. You don't even know them. Like discretion is one of the rules. So it's basically like let's say you do meet somebody that you're a fan of and, like y'all have a conversation, like you don't need to go post everything on social media. Right. Like discretion is important. So there's like 6 rules. I won't go into them all. Mm-hmm. But ethical fangirling is like a really big thing for us. Sure. So that's why I was like asking you these questions, just like out of curiosity. I didn't think you were going to tell me something happened yesterday. Yeah. That's wild. Y'all, we got to do better. Like, for sure. Can we not? Okay, so let's get back to you then. So one of the things that made me really interested in talking to you months ago when I did the story for Inside the Star was this whole idea of culinary arts as an athletic, and maybe it is athletic, but as a sports endeavor, for right? Sure. And so that's something that you've been really passionate about. And I think it's really interesting because I think sometimes when people choose a passion, one, it's something that they've been exposed to. And 2, it's something that they just think is a really good idea. Right. And when I first heard you talk about, culinary arts as a sport, it kind of made me think of when I heard David Diggs talk about the musical Alexander Hamilton. Mm-hmm. And he talked about how he told Lin-Manuel Miranda that it was a bad idea. Right. It was like, Hamilton is a bad idea. Now, fast forward a few years, we know Hamilton is one of the most successful musicals to ever hit Broadway. For sure. One of the most successful pieces to ever hit Disney Plus, right? Yeah. David Diggs to this day contends that it is a bad idea because he's like, okay, as an idea, it really is terrible. Like it worked out, but it's like if you tell somebody, okay, I'm going to make a hip hop musical about the founder of the American economy, does that sound like no? So culinary arts as a sport doesn't sound like one of those things that would be like a cash cow or get a big audience. But yet, since you said that, we've seen you do spots with Nike. Mm-hmm. We've seen you, was it Academy? It was somebody that you did something with recently. There was like a whole event, but it was something athletic. You were literally doing so much you can't. I'm literally about to pull it up on your Instagram and be like this, and you'll be like, oh, okay.
Well, yeah, that was
I'm gonna find it. But while I'm looking for this, talk about culinary arts as a sport and what that would look like and why you were so motivated to pursue this as an endeavor.
For sure. So culinary arts is actually the only sport that's not classified as such. With all of the cooking shows, cooking festivals, competitions, and things of that nature, by definition, it is an actual sport if you look it up. So, we're in, like I was telling you before, we're in the kitchen cooking in front of 500 to 900 degree cooking equipment. We don't have any half times, timeouts, commercial breaks, or anything like that. So how come we don't have a water company or a sports drink company endorsing us and partnering with us to replenish our electrolytes or to hydrate us and things of that nature? We're in front of all that hot equipment. How come I don't have a Nike sports jacket that's dry fit on the back to keep me cool and everything of that nature? How come we don't have any player non-slip shoes to look good in the kitchen? Coach Deion's motto is look good, feel good. So how come I can't still have my swagger in the kitchen and they be non-slip? Just a lot of things of that nature that I'm going to be the one that is implementing that and being the trailblazer for that, because it's the by Forbes, it's top 5 or top 3 fastest growing industries. It's one of the only industries that made it through COVID. It's the only thing that everybody needs, and regardless of how much money you make, you're always going to pay to have food and things of that nature. So the fact of it not making money or there not being a need for it is inevitable or unrealistic for people to say. You think about it, a football game is 3 hours long, and you have X amount of games. Let's just say 16 games in the week. So that comes to a total of, let me do the math, 3, 6. That puts us at 18. Boom, boom, boom. That's 46 hours of football a week. Not counting bye weeks and things of that nature. But for cooking shows, there's over 500 hours of cooking shows per week. So it's more exposure than some of your football games on a constant level, and not just seasonal and things of that nature. So it's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and it's an untapped industry. And I'll be the one to tap into it. I just recently signed with Evermore. So they understood the vision and saw the vision, and they're going to help me back what I'm doing. So, it's a lot of stuff that is in the works right now to help me accomplish that goal and expose it to the world.
So you're working with a shoe company and a water company. Mm-hmm. So we're getting there. We're getting close.
We're getting there.
Now, what I want to ask you about that is we've seen some cooking competition shows, right? That's out there. So when we talk about culinary arts as a sport, are we thinking of something that's going to be basically that, but with a scoring system? Or are you talking about like a whole new rule set, something that people haven't even seen before?
So how come? So in the Olympics, what sport isn't there? There's football. There's no football.
Roller derby is not.
That's American sport. Roller derby is an American sport as well, to my knowledge. But culinary arts is all over the world. Cooking is all over the world. Every cuisine is being crisscrossed and everything like that. So how come we don't have anything for the Olympics inside of the culinary arts realm? Just different things like that to put our own spin. I don't really per se that we're gonna be running around and doing all that other stuff, but us in the kitchen alone burning more calories or equal to somebody on the football field still has us in the same playing ground as athletes.
Gotcha. Okay. So what are you looking into next? Are you looking for more endorsements, or are we now to the step where we need to be looking for broadcasting?
It's more endorsements. So it's the bigger ones, the ones that will really put it on to the higher level. Nike was just a few things. We're still in talks and things like that, but I really want to have that announcement to where I'm the first signed chef to Nike, or the first signed chef to a Body Armor, a Gatorade, a Powerade, things of that nature. And then it'll be time to really start to show people and bring in other chefs that understand the vision and want to be a part of it. Well, I don't want to say that I want to be a part of it, because everybody wants to feel a part of something. No matter what industry you're in, everybody wants to feel like they belong. And the culinary arts is the only industry that doesn't feel like they belong to something.
I never really thought about it though. Okay, so are they or are they not already working on the design for the chef coat? I'm just curious.
I have my own design.
So you have the design already. My own design. So when Nike is ready, you're just gonna be like,
whenever the right person. I'm not gonna specifically say Nike. I'm not gonna limit myself. But whenever Jordan, New Balance, Adidas, Under Armour is ready, I'm ready.
You got it.
Yeah.
So it's already done.
Oh yeah.
Cool. I believe it, because I was watching your documentary, and I don't remember who it was who said it, but it was one of your friends who said everything that you say you're gonna do, you do it. So one, I'm curious, is that accurate? Because I know sometimes we have dreams and goals that we might not share, and we may or may not reach those goals, So I don't know if that's accurate, or if you literally do everything that you set out to do. And then I'm just curious, how? Because there are some people who haven't done anything.
Right.
They say they're gonna do.
How? Of course, I have to say by the grace of God. I'm really blessed to be in these positions, as we talked about earlier. It's just these ideas, just having conversations like this with my clients that make them want to invest, or make them want to help promote or put me in the right direction to have the right connections and things of that nature. But yeah, everything I've said I've wanted to do, it might have not been on my timeline, but one way or another, it spun around and happened. I've had, I guess I'm about to tell on myself, but I've had a business plan since I was a sophomore in high school for a food truck. Okay. Never. I was like, I'm ready for whenever, but now it's about to happen. Things like that is not always going to happen immediately, but one way or another, I make sure it happens. If I set the goal to it, if not, it'll just eat at me, and I feel like I'm not doing enough to make it happen, because I know I have the resources, the knowledge, and the willpower to make it happen.
Interesting. You want to know what's interesting about that? And this is just me nerding out for a second. Mm-hmm. Going back to Hamilton. The financial system that Hamilton put in place in the U.S. was something that he actually wrote down when he was a kid.
Wow.
It was before America had even gained independence.
Yeah.
But he wrote that down, came to America, uh, was part of the war, fought in the war. He wrote the Federalist Papers because not everybody supported the Constitution,
Right.
but he wrote the Federalist Papers to get the Constitution ratified. And then when he was in the position to do so, he was even influential in getting Washington elected as the first president because he knew he was cool with Washington.
Right.
And then he was in Washington's cabinet. So after he'd done all that, then he's like, finally, my financial system, here it is.
Right.
But it was something that he wrote down long before it was executed. So I feel like, stories like that just speak to the power of like writing things down.
Definitely.
And even like sometimes we look patient, but we don't feel patient.
I feel like one of my biggest, not to cut you off, but one of my biggest, I don't want to say things that I hate, but I used to be very impatient, and I prayed to God for patience. And now, in my older years, He's showing me that I have to be patient with a lot of things, and just wait for His timing and things of that nature. My mom always told me, be careful praying for patience, because God gonna make you wait. Yeah. So I don't regret praying for it, but now I really understand and really see how far my patience has come, and now I fight with the fact of having to be patient or go get it. So I fight with that a lot every day, but patience is the big thing.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's something I think about a lot. It's like whenever you pray for a certain trait, like the only way to develop it is to have it tested.
Right.
So it's like, if you're praying for patience, if you are praying for like endurance, if you're praying for wisdom, you're going to go through some trials.
Right. You got to go
you're basically asking for trials to come into your life so you can develop this trait. It's not like you wake up and it's like, okay, I'm patient now.
We'll wait.
Yeah. No, that's not how it works. All. It's rough. Okay. So let's say you were to, get everything off the ground. Culinary Arts becomes a sport. What role do you see yourself playing in that? Like, do you see yourself being like one of the competitors? Or are you trying to be like the Jerry Jones of
Jerry Jones? I won't get on a lot of cooking shows. Well, I'll be on a couple cooking shows coming soon. But I never really wanted to get on a lot of cooking shows because I felt like I had more to lose than the people that were going to be on the show. A lot of them are trying to build their name or using the show to make a name. But me coming in with an established name already, I felt like I had more to lose. So, I just don't kind of want to put an extra target on my back if I really don't care about winning it in the first place. Yeah, it's cool to say you won the competition or whatever, but what do you get out of winning the competition other than a pat on the back or $10,000 that'll be taxed and you're only gonna get $4,000 at the end of the day?
Good point.
So, the people that are sitting at the tables judging the competitors are the ones that's making the real money. The people that are putting these events together are the ones that are really the most influential and the ones that are really making the money. So, and it's not even all about money. It's, more so of if Guy Fieri is hosting something, every chef is going to want to be there because it's Guy Fieri. Nobody's going to watch a show just because 10 chefs are going to be on the show other than those chefs' family.
You really thought about this?
No, actually, I just thought about it when you asked the question.
Oh, well, that was a really good answer.
I never knew why. I mean, I knew I always had more to lose, but I never really tried to map it out. A lot of things I bottle up in my brain or try to put on the back level until it's asked in these situations or these things. So sometimes I surprise myself. I'll go back and watch these, but no, just really understanding what my name stands for, what the brand stands for, and what the goal really is. I don't want to put myself in the position to have to keep working to compete to get to the top whenever I'm the one that created the standard in the first place, per se, once this comes to fruition. And just really understanding what needs to be done.
Nice. This man is dropping gems spontaneously. This is special, y'all. That's impressive. But I feel like your ability to do that, like even though you didn't have a pre-established answer to that specific question, I feel like your ability to come up with an answer so quickly and state it so well comes from the fact that you have such a clear idea of what you want and what you don't want. Definitely. Like, what the goal is. So once again, going back to that, that's really important. Yeah. Now, thinking about something that you said in that answer, do you feel like because of who your clients are, you have to be more careful about accepting opportunities?
Yep. A lot of times opportunities will come just because of them. So I have to see which ones are there because of them or which ones are there because of what I want to create or what vision I have or what my God-given purpose is. So really just shuffling through those and really seeing, a lot of times my manager will a lot of times if people want to make something happen, they'll put a dollar sign behind it.
Okay.
So we'll put out a crazy dollar sign and see what they and then that'll really shuffle and sift out a lot of them, and even just looking through the company's morals and understanding which companies align with my clients and what their visions are. So sometimes I'll do something with a company just because I know Dak wants to do XYZ, or I know CD's always wanted to do XYZ or something like that. So a lot of times people think.
So you're saying one of them wants to come on the show? I'm joking.
I mean, I do want to put you in contact with the women's tackle football league.
Oh, yes.
So I do know
please.
the owner of that league and the owner of the team here in Dallas. So, yeah. But just really understanding what works and what's needed and how it works for everybody.
Nice. I dig that. All right. So on that note, for the young entrepreneurs that we're imagining might be watching this, if they are having trouble establishing their goals, establishing what it is that they want to do and what the priority is for them, like where do you think a person should start? Like, let's say they have talent and
wherever you're happiest.
That's simple.
That's simple. If you're not happy doing it, if you don't find joy in doing it, then it's not your purpose. That's just a hobby. Once you really find something that you're passionate about and that you would do for free, then that's whenever you turn that into how you make money. Like I said, I baked all the time and would just take it to football practice, church, school, whatever, and that got me to where I am now. Understanding what that thing is that'll get you to where you want to be in the future is what's going to be your purpose and what will help you find what you're supposed to be doing.
I think there's one thing I want to add to that, because you said, finding something that you would do for free.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually find that a lot of the things that people end up being really good at, not only are you working for free, but you actually have to invest in it.
Right.
And I know that's true, like with what you do, because we all know food costs money. So anything that you've ever learned how to cook, anytime you've ever, done something in exchange for like a favor or whatever, you've had to invest.
Right.
With our podcast, we've had to invest. I know a bunch of content creators who had to invest a lot, not only in terms of money, but in terms of just time spent studying, energy put into figuring out what works and what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So when you come across someone who maybe doesn't have a lot to invest, or, maybe they're scared to invest, like, what do you say? And do you have any stories about times that you've invested a lot and kind of had to be patient for the return?
There's no way you don't find money to invest into what you really love. And I say that because there's times where I didn't have the ingredients to make a cake, but I pre-sold the cake. Give me a deposit. I know it's only going to take me $8, $9 to get really everything that I need. Now I went and got that. Okay, so I know I'm going to get the rest of the money whenever I drop off the cake. And now I have more than what I had before. You just take that and flip it again. So no matter what it is, you will find a way. Either you'll find somebody that believes in you and wants to invest for you, or you'll find a way to go get it. You might have to go, it's cliche or old school. You might have to go mow a couple lawns in order to get the laptop you need to edit your pictures. Things like that. There's always a way. If it's meant for you to be a go-getter and it's meant for you to have it, you'll find a way to get it.
I like that. And that, in my mind, connects to one of the things I noticed in your documentary, which is on his YouTube page, by the way.
Check that out.
If they search Chef Hoppie, they'll find it, right?
Right.
Okay. It's called Prime Time of Culinary. It's a very interesting documentary all about how he got to where he is right now, and also where you're going.
Yeah.
But I think one of your friends told the story of, there was a time where you were living in an apartment, but you didn't have any furniture, And I thought that was interesting because a couple of weeks ago, I did an interview with Isaiah Lambert, who's a filmmaker, but he spent 4 years homeless in LA.
Yeah.
I met Anderson .Paak once, who also was homeless for a while and was like sleeping on his sister's couch, being called a bum and all kind of names before he started working with Dr. Dre. David Diggs, same thing, was like sleeping at his parents' house, didn't have a home, was a substitute teacher before he got his big break in Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be this pattern of people ending up in a place where there's like what a lot of people would call extreme lack.
Yeah.
Like conditions that a lot of people just would not voluntarily put themselves in.
Right.
But you see how so many people go from that to seeing a lot of success, and not just like oh, okay, now I'm good. Now I can pay rent. But like we're talking about like notoriety.
No, right.
So do you think it's something about that kind of experience that like pushes you to success? Or do you think do you think it's a necessary part of the journey? Like, I really just want you to talk about that, like whether or not you think it's necessary, something that people kind of have to go through on the way,
Right.
how you felt as you were dealing with it.
Mhm.
Like, let's go into that.
Yeah, so I really feel like you gotta one of my favorite sayings or things that I came up with is you gotta go through it to get to it. So if you're not going through anything or you're not building character, you're not building fear. One of my biggest fears every time somebody asks me wasn't snakes, spiders, or anything like that. It was the fear of not being successful. So, once you build up that fear and you have rock bottom, you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up. So, you have to go through everything that got you to rock bottom for you to learn, for you to build the courage, for you to really put together a plan and see how you're going to climb that mountain. And then that's whenever you really start to be successful. I was sitting down the other day and God gave me a word or whatever, how a phrase or whatever that you want to call it. And I didn't know what it was for. I talked to my brother last night. It might have been for him and it might have been for this interview right here. But, just the analogy of looking at a mountain. A lot of times it's harder for you to go up the mountain harder to go up the mountain than going down because of all of the tribulations and all of the force and pull that takes you to get there. But your direction is up. You're headed to the top. Of course, it's easier to go downstairs. It's easier to walk down the hill. It's easier to walk down the mountain, but it's also easier for you to fall and easier for you to get to the bottom. So it's you got to see if you're going to go hard and work your way to the top or easy to fall to the bottom. So, always work to go up that mountain.
Wow. Yes, Brother L, he is preaching right now, like literally preaching right now. So what about like, I feel like that's one of those things that now looking back on it, you can say, okay, like, yeah, I went up the mountain, I made the sacrifices. When you were in that situation, how did you feel? Like, was that something that you just had that much faith where it didn't faze you? Were there days when you doubted yourself?
In the beginning, which is another funny story. I think there's an article out there about it. I told it one other time. The day that Coach Deion texted me to be his chef full time, I had just bought me and my mom a 4 for $4 with a roll of dimes. It was the last bit of money I had. She was out of money, food stamps was gone, everything like that. But I said, you know what, Mom, we're gonna eat good. We're gonna have some 4 for $4. We eat. We go. I think in a roll of dimes, there's $9 or $10, something like that. And 4 for $4, 2 for $4 is $8. So that night, I was just sitting there praying, crying, and that's what really gave me the willpower that we'll never be in that situation again. So, being at being at the bottom and being to where my back is against the wall, really built the courage and the willpower to wanna get to where I am now. Of course, there was, I don't want to say of course, but there was never doubt into being in this position or being at a higher level than I am now. It was always a matter of when. So my thing is, when will this happen? When will I do this? Which idea will happen? Which time will get me there? So that was really my only thing as to focusing on a lot of things because I never knew which thing was going to be the one that gets me there.
So even when you were in that situation, there was no doubt.
No, never doubt. I grew up in church and everything like that. So I always had faith and I always knew, of course, there's always anger with God and situations as to why me or why am I in the situation. But once I realized it had to be me because I was strong enough to get through whatever situation, I always accepted hard times and trials and tribulations. I always accepted all the weight. There's nothing you could put on my shoulders that's gonna weigh me down. I might cry a day, I might be depressed for a day or two, but I always know that there's a bigger picture and everything is always bigger than me. So I always accepted it and never doubted what was in the works.
So how do you find that? Like, how do you find yourself, like, because you said you bought a 4 for $4 with a roll of dimes, which means the next day, what was your plan?
I didn't have one.
And so how do you end up in that situation and not doubt, not have doubt, not,
I don't know. I really couldn't answer that question for you because it was just a matter of just wanting to eat with my mom, so it was like
handle one situation at a time.
One situation at a time. And that trust in God and that faith, got me to where I am now. The next that same night, I got that text from Coach Deion.
So did he know what y'all were dealing with?
Mm-mm. He knew he knew a few years ago we had been evicted, and it was ups and downs and everything. But that's a lot of times that's everybody. But he didn't know. Anytime I went there, went to go cook or anything like that, I never showed it on my face. Always smiling, same Chef Hoppie as always. And then whenever I went back home, that's whenever I dealt with it. But he never knew, and I don't even think he knows that story to this day.
Well, maybe he'll see it now. So just out of curiosity, because you say you always showed up with a smile on your face, so on and so forth. Are you a person who believes that a lot of what you get in life comes from the energy that you put out? Is that what gets you to keep a smile on your face and try to maintain a certain demeanor?
I don't know if it's that or if it's, I know my smile is the reason for a lot of people's smiles. So I know if I don't have that smile or if I'm not in full energy or what people are expecting, then that's whenever it affects other people. So, it's funny because I always say I hate people because I like being by myself. I like, but whenever it's time for me to click in, being Chef Hoppie and being what I need to be at the time, I'm a people person and I make sure people are okay before I'm okay.
So. I dig it. Yeah, I would say that's energy that deserves to be rewarded. If you're into laws of attraction and things like that. So before we get out of here, I want you to talk a little bit about some of the other stuff that you've been working on, because it's okay. So for those who don't know, I know a few of y'all know. I think there are 2 people in the chat who know about this. But I originally wanted to interview Chef Hoppie in Oxnard.
Yeah.
And while I was really disappointed that didn't happen, I'm actually kind of glad, because if you saw any of the content that came out while I was in Oxnard, I was struggling when it came to the setup. We never got the audio right. And I think the audio has been okay. Give me a thumbs up if the audio is okay. I think I finally figured out something that will work. So this is awesome. But where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. So when you said that you didn't make the trip, the only reason I thought that you might be there was because Lil Baby had shows, and I was just I wonder if he's gonna be out here cooking for this man. But it was there was a couple of weeks on your social media where so much was being posted. I didn't even know what was going on. I couldn't keep up with all the things that you were being pulled into. Yeah. So where are you right now? What are you working on? What's coming up? What should we look forward to? What's happening?
Just to go back on it, so with the Lil Baby and everything else that was going on my social media, which is kind of a good reason I wasn't in Oxnard, but yeah, Lil Baby texted me the same day that I cooked for him, or not texted me, his tour manager text. It's funny because I cooked for Bebe with K104, and he texted him looking for a chef, and they wanted me to cook for them. So that was the same day, and a lot of things that happened on my social media in that time frame that you're talking about was kind of spontaneous. It wasn't, planned or anything like that. But just to get back to your question, there's a lot going on. Like I said, me and Dak's business, me and my graphic designer are opening a media marketing company and working with a few photographers, videographers, and creative directives in the area to help elevate a lot of business and brand social media and really tap into a better look, a better picture, a better vision. I always tell people culinary arts is just what gets me to the door, but I'm not just a chef. I'm way more than a chef, and I'm tapping into a lot of those things now. What else is going on? I'm trying to think.
When you say you're more than a chef, what are you?
Chef Hoppie. That's the brand. So how you have an actress, Queen Latifah. That's not her name, but Queen Latifah is associated with movies, shows, talk shows, makeup, everything like that. So Deion Sanders is associated with football, baseball, college football, Under Armour, Nike, or Louis bags, just so many different things. So I just use this platform to get me to where I really want to be. I never wanted to put myself into one one bottle. But yeah, there's so much that's going on, and I never really know what's going on until it's time for it to happen. I just, like I said, I'm always ready for whatever opportunity presents itself. I'm going to be doing a tasting of Chef Hoppie soon, where it's going to be 7 different entrees. I don't know if it's going to be between breakfast, brunch, dinner, and dessert. You know, might have a variety between and just really trying to establish myself to do more that impact other people than just myself and the people connected to me.
I dig it. And I do feel like listening to this interview is going to do a lot for a lot of people. When I messaged you about it, I said I wanted people to be able to listen to this and be inspired. Right. And I definitely think they will be. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you.
Was there anything else you wanted to share before we get out of here?
No, I think we just spilled the tea on everything.
Okay. Well, we'll be looking out. So if anybody who's watching or anybody who catches the replay, go ahead and share your socials where people can follow you.
Follow me on Twitter at Chef Hoppie, on Instagram, Chef Hoppie _. Check out my website, The Chef Hoppie. Get your cookbook, get your seasonings.
Yes.
Check out the documentary and just stay tuned on for whatever we got cooking up next, because I don't even know what we got cooking up next.
I gotta say on that note real quick, those seasonings are amazing.
Thank you.
I will go get like food from a restaurant and bring it home and put your seasonings on it because it makes it that much better. Like I went somewhere and I got like seared ahi tuna, you know, and I was eating it and I was like, I got put some of the seasoning on. It really is amazing, y'all. You can buy it online. So like order it, get the cookbook. There's some awesome recipes in there that I'm moving right now. So I haven't been able to do like the videos and stuff that I want to do because I love to cook too.
Yeah.
I just realized a long time ago that like being a cook was not for me, but I love to cook. As a matter of fact, one last question, because I got to ask.
Oh, yeah.
How do you make your gumbo?
Gumbo. So it just depends on what type of gumbo you're going to do. If it's a seafood gumbo, you got to be careful because it'll spoil fast. So, you know, of course you got your Trinity. You saute up your Trinity with a little bit of oil, a little bit of butter, add some flour, to start your roux, add in some, depending on if you're doing a seafood or just I don't know what to call it because it's not beef, it's beef and chicken. But depending on, you make your stock out of that. So if it's seafood, you're going to use shrimp shells and crab shells, whatever seafood you have, and boil that up and then add that into your Trinity. And then you add in your meats and let that cook for a little bit. And then you have your rice and everything. So it just depends on which route you're going to go with it. But really just that Trinity and that roux is really what's going to help make your gumbo.
I agree with you on that. Me and some members of the audience have talked about having a gumbo night. So I don't know if you're still accessible by that time. Maybe we can both do something. But I had to ask because you have clients who are from Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
I just needed to know that they're taken care of.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, definitely follow this guy. The pictures and videos are amazing. Like he's a chef, but he lives life like a rock star. It is so much fun to watch. But we are reaching that time of the day where the sun is shining through the window. It's getting hot. The visuals are getting weird.
Right.
So we're going to hop out. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. I love you guys so much. I'm Bitch Shoot, and I'm out.
All right. Y'all have a good one.